Hey everybody, it's Rory from A&S Gear, and we are going to look at an accessory for your Tippmann 98 custom. This is the Tippmann low pressure kit right here. So what this does, or what the idea behind this kit is, typically your 98 custom is going to operate at roughly 750 to 850 psi. So running that much pressure into the gun to make it function normally as it should can add a little bit of extra kick, recoil, just motion to the gun. It's a high pressure system that's running inside there. So they've created a low pressure kit to help reduce the working pressure of the gun to make it a little bit smoother, a little bit quieter, yet still have the same performance that you would run into. Now, basically they've done this by increasing the volume of air that is being run in there at a lower pressure to accommodate for the smaller amount of air at a higher pressure. So we've got a couple pieces here, and I have in front of me a 98 custom, but it's a Platinum Series 98 custom. Now this kit will not install into a Platinum Series 98 custom. It must be the older version of the 98 custom. The easiest way to look and find out if you have an older version is one of two ways. The Platinum Series has a cut in the middle of it right here, so you can actually work at two halves of the gun without disassembling the whole thing. That's the first giveaway. If you flip your gun over and look at the valve area, or where, I want to call it the valve area, but where the power tube, which has the valve inside of it, where that would mount up inside the gun, if you do not see two screws on the side of your gun right next to each other, you can't mount it into that gun either. You need to have two screws that are on the side of your body that go through and go into your power tube and your valve, which is inside your power tube, and that's what holds it in place inside there. So if you don't see those two screws, or if you see the cut in the middle of the body, this won't work for your kit. You need to have an older version of that. I don't think they make actually a low pressure kit for this gun, and this one has the response trigger installed in it, so doesn't have anything to do with it, but if you're wondering what that is, that's what it is. So let's just talk about the parts, and we will kind of give you an idea of where they go if you were to have the appropriate gun that you were putting it into. So they give you a couple parts. They give you the low pressure system right here, some Loctite, so you can reset up your hardware, the new bolt assembly with the new striker, the cover plate for the cocking, the old cocking mechanism on the gun, and then some steel braided line setup so that you could redo your line setup on there. So this is the way the installation would go if you had the appropriate gun. You would open up the gun and remove the old power tube out, the old valve out, which is all one assembly. Disconnect all your lines set up, so this is going to come off and this is going to come off. And you would install this piece right here. So this would sit right inside here like this. Okay, you would take this grip off the bottom, and this would then be an open hole into here. Now, one thing that they do not provide for you, which you do need to have 100% to make this work, is a regulator. So you have to have an external regulator. They can regulate down into the 300 to 400 psi range as an output pressure, and that will screw into here. So the regulator is going to come off of here. Then you're going to redo your line setup to connect this from your regulator back to your ASA assembly. So that's how that's going to go in there. Now this is going to be your new bolt, or your new striker, I should call it, not your new bolt. And the difference between this one, it is a rear cocking version. Unlike this one in normal 98s where you have a side cock mechanism to it right here, this one has a center or rear cocking assembly. So it actually has a device that you're going to grab onto and you're going to pull it back. Get this rubber band out of, or O-ring out of there. So imagine that this is sitting inside here like this. This is going to be trapped by the back of the gun right here. You would pull back like that and the gun would cock back. So that's how that works. Pretty simple setup. Once you remove this old assembly out of there, now you've got a giant hole in the side of your gun. A lot of paint can get in there, dirt can get inside there. So they give you this cover plate, which will go over the top of it and hide that hole so that you don't have debris getting inside of there. And then I think I mentioned that there's Loctite here to do all your fittings. So it's definitely gives it a different look once this is all done right here. You do need to buy one extra part, though. You do need to buy a regulator for it, and that is not provided. So it is something you will need to pick up if you decide you want to do this to an older 98 Custom. It definitely does change the way they shoot, makes them a little bit smoother, makes them quieter, makes them a little bit easier to handle. But there is some setup required for it. But once you put it in and you get it running, the end result is worth the time that you've put into it. So if you do have one of the older 98 Customs and you feel like it's just a tank when it shoots, or like a shotgun, bang, bang, check out one of these low pressure kits. It'll definitely make the gun shoot smoother, quieter, and a little bit more efficient as well. So check it out on the website and order yours now through ansgear.com.